just over a week to reflect on our Cambodia TukTuk adventure. So we thought it'd be good just to do a summary video highlighting the process and the pros and cons of tuk-tuking in Cambodia and what we did and why we did it.
There's a lot more pros than cons.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There were a couple of cons.
There were.
But yeah, so anyway, this is just kind of a summary to run through the highlights. If you want to see more detail, then obviously you can watch the detailed day-by-day videos, but this was just to give an overview if you're thinking of doing it. And if you are thinking about it, do it. Okay, so this is what we're going to try and cover off during this review. So the process of getting the tuk-tuk and how much that costs. Thought we'd just mention how tuktukrental.com works because it is quite nice the way that they do it. And then we'll cover off your familiarisation and driving lesson, how much you can fit in a tuk-tuk because that's a question that comes up quite often, and then just a bit about our route, how much it costs in terms of day-to-day costs, and an overall review. So if you decide to get your tuk-tuk, the TukTuk rental site is really easy to navigate actually. It just gives you a choice between Sri Lanka and Cambodia and then the city you want to pick up and drop off in, and also the dates, and so you just fill that in and then it will let you know what the base price is. So if you're going for a week or less, it works out about $22 a day if you're renting one in Cambodia. But that's without a discount code. Obviously if you use our discount code or any other discount code you might have, you can get 5% off that price. Once you have booked your tuk-tuk, there's lots of help available on the tuktukrental.com site and also on various Facebook groups as well in terms of working out your route and planning what you want to do. There's loads of good advice and help out there, so well worth exploring those groups. And then when it comes to actually the day, you turn up, you pick up your tuk-tuk. First of all, they give you a thorough run round of the tuk-tuk, how it operates. Very similar both places, although the main difference with the Cambodian ones is they use the LPG rather than normal fuel, but that's fairly straightforward. And our driving lesson obviously in Cambodia was a bit quicker because we had done it before in Sri Lanka, albeit we still managed to stall a few times, as you can see. Both in Cambodia and Sri Lanka, we found all the tuktukrental.com staff to be really helpful, both before we booked, during the process, as we were planning our route, and then as we turned to pick up the tuk-tuks. But also you got that support available as you're driving around. So we just sent a couple of questions in by WhatsApp when we were out and about, just to clarify things, and you get virtually instant responses. So really good support throughout the whole process.
As you can see, plenty of room. Goes in really easily. And we've actually brought with us a chain and a padlock so that we feel a bit safer when we leave them with nothing in. And it goes around the grill quite happily. So we had lots of discussions about what to do and where to go when we had our tuk-tuk, and we've done quite a lot of Cambodia before, mostly down south, and we've been to Phnom Penh, so that wasn't really a highlight for us to do again. So we thought we'd try and do the north this time, so going north from Siem Reap, which seemed like a good idea, and we even had a route planned out going north-east,
northwest we planned originally.
All right, and anyway, we weren't decided to go the other way, mainly because we thought we fancied looking at the dolphins, seeing if we could kayak with dolphins. Sounded like an amazing thing to do, and it was actually going to be a much longer route the other way. So
yeah, and from some discussions with George at TukTuk rental in Siem Reap, when we went along a few days before we got the TukTuk, and after some discussion with him, we decided it'd probably be better to go that way.
Yeah, and we decided to go up Cooler Mountain as well, which wasn't in the initial plan.
No.
So that was again thanks to him and the discussions we had with him. So we were happy with the route. It was possibly longer than we envisaged because we didn't do much short of that route when we did Sri Lanka of that length. So it was a lot more driving than Sri Lanka, but it was fine, it was good. So we're definitely recommending doing it.
Okay, so we've spoken earlier about the actual cost of hiring your TukTuk and how you get a discount using our RGR TukTuk code. I just want to say that again. But in terms of the running costs, if they run on LPG in Cambodia as opposed to normal fuel in Sri Lanka. So the LPG, we spent just under £24 to do 1,000 kilometres, so just over 2 pence per kilometre, which is ridiculously cheap, really good. Oil, we actually spent nearly as much on oil as we did on LPG, but I don't think that's probably normal. I think our TukTuk probably drank a bit more oil than they normally would, but even so, it was still only £17 over the 8 days, so not a big deal.
We did check as well. We texted them, didn't we,
Yeah.
to check, and they did come back to say that type of TukTuk, the Maxima TukTuk uses more oil because it's a more powerful TukTuk, which we did need for getting up the mountain. So whether there was something wrong with it or not, I don't know.
I mean, it didn't give us a problem. It just we had to top it up every day. But yeah, that was fine. And in terms of if you're planning how fast you can go or looking to plan your route, the top speed we got to on the Speedo was 80 kilometres an hour. But
it was a very flat, very smooth road.
Very smooth, slightly downhill road, yeah.
And you were just testing that. We didn't do that regularly. That was a one-off.
If TukTuk rental are watching, we didn't blast it at 80 the whole time. But actually, even when it said 80 on the Speedo, Google Maps said we were only doing 67, so I think the Speedo was a little bit overstating it anyway.
Yeah, and I think we only did normally about 48 kilometres an hour.
Yeah, we averaged between 40
That's what
and 50.
Google Maps was saying when I was map reading, that you were doing 48 on a good long road.
So and as we said, the total distance we did was just over 1,000 kilometres. So we averaged 131 kilometres a day, which is quite a bit. But we probably average speed when we were taking all the sort of stop-and junctions, whatever else, was probably about 30 kilometres an hour average. So probably drove for between 3 and 4 hours a day on average, which was fine. A couple of days we did a lot more, and it was harder work. But yeah, in general that was fine.
But it wasn't boring. That's why I didn't think that actually sitting in the back of the TukTuk might be boring, but actually it wasn't. It was always something to look at and see. And
and when we spoke to TukTuk Rental and George and the team there, a few people had been concerned about LPG and whether they'd have trouble getting LPG and had a bit of range anxiety like people have with their electric cars when they first get them. But to be honest, we didn't have any issue with it at all. There were loads of garages that did LPG. I don't think we ever got below half full.
No, and it was very clear on their map. They didn't have nearly as many on their map as
there actually are. So there'll be a lot more that come onto the map as people add more and more. Yeah. And I think the northeast bit that we did, they haven't had nearly as many people up that way. So obviously that, if you're in the bits that are more popular, potentially going down to Battambang or down to the coast, then there's probably a lot more on the map. So yeah, not an issue at all. No. So if you're wondering what RGRRR stands for, we did get a bit bored a couple of times with the TukTuk and come up with some stupid ideas. Anyway, it's the Rossies Go Roaming road racing, because the roads were quite variable. So we did kind of rate the roads as we went. So the first road we did, going from Siem Reap out towards Cooler Mountain and Bangmelia was overall pretty good, so we rated that as a 7. There were a few iffy bits on it.
And it was quite busy, the first bit was quite busy.
Yeah, just getting out of Siem Reap, and it's always a bit more hectic when you're getting used to driving it again.
Yeah.
So just because it was a bit busier, we rated that 7. We've been a bit worried about going up to Kulen Mountain because you're going up a mountain, and I think the road the other side is meant to be far worse, but the road going up from the Bangmelia side was great. Really good road, really quiet. I think we were in first gear for maybe 15-20 seconds. The rest of the time it was second or third.
TukTuk did really well.
The TukTuk did really well. Way better than when we tried to go up to, I'm going to murder the pronunciation. Yeah, that one. The tower in Sri Lanka, where we had to zigzag. We didn't have to do any of that. So yeah, really good road. So well worth going up to Kulen Mountain and Kulen Waterfall, and don't worry about the road if you go up that way.
Yeah.
So we then went from Bangmelia all the way across towards Stung Treng, but we stopped off to go up to the waterfall. But the road across the top there was really good, and that was a really nice drive actually.
I actually think that was one of the best roads that we did, because it was quiet. Well, that's the one I drove for a start, so that makes you realise that it was a good road and it was quiet. And it was a lovely road. Nice, smooth, wide, not too many trucks, smiley people.
Yeah.
It was great.
Lots of places to stop if you wanted a snack or a drink.
Yeah.
And no, it was just a really nice drive along there.
Yeah.
So
we got to the end.
And until we turned off to the waterfall and the road towards that, and it was tarmac for about 3 or 4 kilometres, and then it became the dusty, bumpy road from hell for 20 kilometres to the waterfall. I've given it a generous 1. I don't know quite why it got. I suppose there was actually something there that was vaguely recognisable as a road, a dirt track. Anyway,
it was a dirt track.
It was an awful drive, but still worth it because the waterfall was stunning.
Yeah, and to be fair, when we arrived at the waterfall and we had to pay our little entrance thing, the little man just laughed at the state of us. So if you haven't watched that video, go back and look at it because it's hysterical.
So that was that. Getting to Stung Treng from there was fine. Well, after you came off that track, anything would have felt fine. So, but we had developed a bit of a rattle and a bang, but which took me about 2 days to work out, was the jack had moved in under the driver's seat and was banging against the tank. So I was thinking there was something horribly wrong. It was just that. Anyway, Stung Treng to Kratie. The first bit is pretty awful. It's bumpy, it's busy, lots of lorries. It wasn't particularly pleasant for the first, probably only about 10 kilometres. Yeah. First 10 kilometres, and then the road was fine after that. Quite a nice drive. Yeah. So that bit was fine, and then from Kratie to Glorious Hotel. That was mixed really. There were bits of it that were fairly rutted and bumpy and not a great surface, and then there were some bits that were obviously newer and had dual carriageway. Yeah. But so overall we've given it a 5 because it was pretty slow for bits of it. But the end bit got quite busy. The end bit started to get busy because you were on the start of the Phnom Penh to Siem Reap road, and hence why that stretch there on the next day got a 3, because that was. The road itself is okay, but it's single carriageway, and you've got things coming straight at you, overtaking the other ways, and lorries and buses overtaking things and coming straight at you. I think they think because you're a tuk-tuk, they treat you like a moped and don't realise you're 3 times the width of a moped. Yeah. So they get really close. So that was not the most pleasant road to drive. No. We bombed along it. It was quick, but only because I wanted to get off it.
And we were stuck behind that one lorry for about 30 kilometres.
Yeah, because he was going just too fast to be able to get past him, but he was slower than we wanted to go. So a bit of a frustrating drive.
The road from the Glorious Hotel to the temples there.
Yeah, that
was okay. That was a good road as well, because we were a bit worried about that being the same as the waterfall road, but it wasn't. That was fine.
That was good. And then we did have the last couple of days going around Siem Reap and the Angkor Wat Historical Park, and the roads there, which generally pretty good.
Yeah, they were really good.
There's the odd little bumpy bit going up to the landmine museum and things, but
Yeah.
apart from that, the actual roads around the historical park itself are great, and driving your tuk-tuk round through the temples is really nice because you can just take your time, do what you want.
But do you remember that you have to stop at the checkpoints? Otherwise you get told off by the man, because we went through a
I
checkpoint.
missed a ticket checkpoint,
We
and
got
they'd
told
obviously
off.
radioed ahead, and another little man jumped out and stopped us and scanned our tickets
He
with
was
a
very
smile,
nice,
with a smile and a
but yeah,
laugh.
we did get
With
a
a smile
little
and a
waggly
laugh,
finger.
Although he did accuse me of nicking his job as well, because when he wasn't doing the ticket thing, he was a tuk-tuk driver.
Yeah.
So, but no. So that's our road ratings.
So that's about it. If you're thinking about getting a tuk-tuk and driving around Cambodia, we'll probably say definitely do it.
Go for it,
I
yeah.
do think, having done the Sri Lankan one first, that was easier. I don't know if I was going to do both. I think I would probably still like to do the Sri Lanka one first, because I think people are more used to seeing them on the roads there, and so I think we were less of a shock in Sri Lanka than we were in Cambodia.
But I think, obviously, as the numbers increase in
Yeah.
Cambodia and they get more used to it, then that will change a bit. So
Yeah, and I think if you'd gone down to Battambang and gone that route, I think there's more would have been.
was more. I mean, the bit we did up the northeast is way less touristy than if you're going Battambang, Kampot, down that way.
Yeah.
So it was a less touristy area, but it was nice because of that as well.
No.
So, but no, I definitely recommend you do it. It certainly hasn't put us off doing it. If anything, it's just whet our appetite to do more and go and do the other half of Sri Lanka that we wanted to do.
I
And
thought you were going to say India then, and I was about to say I don't really think that's
not yet. But other places, yeah. It's certainly something we want to do more of.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're thinking about it, go for it.